Drive, an accident there on the right shoulder. Over to 45, the Gulf Freeway northbound just before
Katy
you get
Freeway
to 20.
eastbound after Taylor, you'll find an accident blocking 2 left lanes. That's going to have you slow down.
A couple of accidents if you're traveling from the south side of town this morning. We'll start off with the Gulf Freeway. One cleared there northbound right before Scarsville Boulevard.
The story of David Saperstein is an American success story. Armed with a revolutionary idea and a love of hard work, David Saperstein ushered in a brand new industry. Now, over 20 years later, we rely on it and have a greater understanding of what success is all about.
It started in 1978. There was a blizzard in Baltimore. In fact, we had over 3 feet of snow in a 24-hour period. That next morning I was driving to work. I thought I was the only fool on the road, but actually the friend of mine who was a news director at an affiliate, well, it became an affiliate, WCBM in Baltimore, was doing traffic reports, and he happened to be on the same road that I was on. It's a road much like Westheimer is in Houston, this street in Baltimore. And I was listening to him talk about the conditions and the drive, and it seemed to me this would be something that people would be interested in hearing all the time. And later on in that day, I called him at his office, and I suggested to him, you know, this is such a great concept. You should really be doing this every day. And he said, yeah, it'd be great, but it's far too expensive for us. And I hung up the phone and thought about it. I guess kind of thought left my mind. And then a couple weeks later, it dawned on me that, you know, this would be something that maybe we could do and supply it to the radio stations. We certainly had plenty of cars. We could put people in the cars each day, and two-way radios to our studios we could build and feed those reports to the radio stations and take some commercials time with each traffic report. And I spoke with the general manager of the radio station, who was a friend of mine, Hal Deutsch, and we met, and he suggested that we do 10-second commercials with the reports, which I later figured out was because no one could sell 10-second commercials on their own, so it probably made sense that if we did that, nobody would feel threatened. But not being in broadcasting and not knowing that you really couldn't sell 10-second commercials, I set out to try and accomplish that feat. But I thought that if I didn't have any success, I could always put my own car dealerships on as the sponsors. That being done, we signed up 3 radio stations and went on the air. But within, I guess, 30 or 60 days of going on the air, we signed up pretty much all the rest of the radio stations in Baltimore. Then shortly after that, there was some interest from stations in Washington, and we opened up in Washington. Within a couple of months of our debut in Washington, I got a call from a general manager in Dallas, Doyle Peterson, who was at a sister station of the San Juan Broadcasting Station in Washington, asking me that we'd be interested in coming to Dallas. And I said, well, you know what, why don't you call me if you can put 10 stations together, and I'd be interested. Of course, that was the first and only time I ever told that to a general manager. After that, we seemed to be always calling them. We never waited for them to call us. But a couple weeks went by, and Doyle called me up and he said, well, you know, I didn't get you 10 radio stations, I got you 12. And I said, okay, I'll be down next week. And within a couple months, we had Dallas opened up. So in 1979, we opened up Baltimore, Washington, and Dallas. And then pretty much the rest is kind of history. After that 1979, we started to roll across the country, opening up cities every year, until we got to where we are today.
In 1999, Westwood One, the nation's largest radio network, acquired Metro Networks for a cool $900 million in stock. But financial success is only part of the equation.
I think that when you can wake up in the morning and you can be happy and look forward to starting your day, you're lucky. You know, I've told my children that you never want to be the person that gets to be 50 or 60 years old, and their highlight of their life is the pass they caught in the 11th grade. You want the highlight in your life to be last year. And I've been lucky in that I think every year has been great and every year has been fun. And you can only have that type of a good time with a lot of luck. And I've truly been blessed.
There's much more to the man than media and money. David Saperstein is constantly giving to the community and to charitable organizations across the United States. He's received countless honors and commendations and has made a tremendous impact on the lives he's touched.
David Saperstein supports countless worthy causes. David is the epitome of the American dream. He started with nothing. He had a great idea. Many people have ideas, but he made it happen. He became very successful with his ideas. Through it all, he never forgot his roots. He gives back to society. He's a wonderful human being. I love him.
Well, what David Saperstein did in the late 80s and early 90s is allow me to do this today. One of the things that David did was make believers out of Sheltering Arms Senior Services. Made us realize that the services that we provide are absolutely critical for the people in this community. Today we're in a $10 million facility that's directly related to his leadership and the marketing committee in getting the word out about Sheltering Arms Senior Services. The other thing I want people to know is that the first fax machine that Sheltering Arms had, David Saperstein carried into our building and connected himself. And that was because nobody else even knew what a fax machine was, much less how to connect it.
You know, I'm fortunate that I have 5 children and they're 5 great kids, 4 girls and a boy. I think the great thing about children is that they're not really concerned with how much you have. They're concerned more with the time that you give them. And having 5 children, I pride myself in that I've never missed a major football game or basketball game or jumping show with any of my kids.
An entrepreneur, a broadcaster, a devoted family man. David Saperstein exemplifies the American success story.